You know that feeling when you slump onto the couch after a long day, ready to switch off with some classic Aussie Telly? Then you see it. The dramatic, swelling orchestra, the high-gloss, slow-motion shot of someone staring into the middle distance, a single, perfect tear rolling down their professionally contoured cheek, the deep, gravelly voiceover promising the most shocking betrayal in the show's history. It's an ad for The Block, a show about renovating houses, and you're left with a dozen questions. When did choosing a splashback become a life or death moral dilemma? When did every reality show, from Finding Love to Baking a Cake, start feeling like it was directed by Michael Bay on a bad day? If you feel like our television has been body snatched, you're not just imagining it. We are in the middle of a full-blown identity crisis, and our screens are being aggressively, shamelessly, and very, very loudly Americanized. It wasn't always like this. Remember when Australian TV had its own wonderfully weird pulse? We were the undisputed champions of character-driven stories and comedy so dry it was a fire hazard. We had the glorious, cringe-filled suburban satire of Kath Kim, the whip-smart media parody of Frontline, and the relatable inner-city chaos of Offspring. This was our golden age, when our sketch comedy felt intensely personal. Shows like Fast Forward and Full Frontal mined their comedic gold right from our own problems, skewering our politicians, parodying our ads, and putting our own unique, weird culture under the microscope. We had music shows like Recovery, which was a glorious explosion of anarchic, unscripted energy on a Saturday morning. We made numerous iconic miniseries like SeaChange, which captured a collective yearning for a simpler life. But then, the reality TV wave crashed onto our shores, and a new, cynical mantra took over the networks. If it works in America, just add an Aussie accent and she'll be alright. And that, right there, is when the soul-sucking began. Let's put the first victim on the autopsy table. Farmer Wants a Wife. The original series was charmingly and painfully dorky, built on the magnificent awkwardness of a shy farmer trying to explain crop rotation to a hairdresser from the city. The dates were clumsy meetups at the local pub, the conversations were stilted, and the farmers looked genuinely terrified to be on camera. It was charming. Now, it's a high-gloss production that looks like The Bachelor went on a weekend trip to the country. The casting has shifted from genuine salt-of-the-earth blokes to handsome guys with suspiciously clean Akubras. Every contestant has a perfectly polished backstory, every date involves something flashy like a helicopter or a private concert, and the drama is so heavily produced you can practically see the puppet strings. Finding a life partner has been demoted to a forgotten subplot, with the show making it their mission to manufacture a primetime soap opera where the contrived cheating scandal always gets top billing. Then there's the cautionary tale of My Kitchen Rules. What began as a genuinely delightful celebration of multicultural home cooking has devolved into a televised psychological warfare experiment with a side of overcooked risotto. In the early seasons, judges Manu Fidel and Pete Evans would actually talk about food, explaining techniques, flavor profiles, and the cultural history of a dish. But now, the formula of a modern MKR episode is the first few minutes being a montage reminding you of yesterday's arguments in case you forgot. The next part are contestants whispering about each other with producer-prompted side chats and confessionals en route to the dinner. We then get frantic, poorly explained cooking, usually set to a panic-inducing soundtrack. Then, the final part are contestants pushing food around their plates while delivering coached, inflammatory sound bites in their confessional interviews. The show has so completely abandoned its culinary roots that teaching cooking and different culinary techniques feel more like an annoyance to their overall storytelling rather than the goal. Of course, we must pay our respects to the undisputed king of this trend, Married at First Sight. The show's evolution from a questionable social experiment to a full-blown content machine for creating D-list celebrities has been a sight to behold. The business model is simple. Get cast, create a massive on-screen fight that goes viral, get a blue tick on Instagram, launch a podcast discussing relationship drama, do sponsored posts for teeth whitening kits, and then, if you're lucky, get cast on another reality show. The televised quest for love has become a thinly veiled audition for a career in personal branding. Even the experts seem to have transformed from credible therapists into Greek gods, narrating the producer-driven chaos from on high and offering advice that often just pours more fuel on the fire. It's a masterclass in manipulation, and it has set the tone for the entire industry. This infection has spread everywhere. Even The Block, a show about building and renovating houses, has become almost unrecognizable. It once had a simple, compelling hook: to watch everyday people pour their heart and soul into creating a home. Now, the show has been completely gamified, with challenges and the conflicts that come with it becoming more of an integral part of the show instead of the actual renovating. The astronomical budgets and final house prices have also made the show completely unrelatable. Any everyday Aussie tuning in for renovation tips will find themselves watching a high-stakes real estate drama for millionaires instead, where the only practical skill on offer is a masterclass in holding a grudge. So, why the hell is this happening? Well, it's a toxic cocktail of money, fear, and a catastrophic lack of imagination. Creating original television is risky. It might fail, but buying a pre-packaged, globally successful format is cheap, safe, and comes with a thick instruction manual that tells the local team exactly how to make it. It dictates the lighting, the music cues, the approved contestant archetypes, everything. Furthermore, the entire economic model of commercial TV is built for water cooler moments, which is just a polite term for huge fights that drive social media engagement. A wine throw trends on Twitter while a quiet, character-building moment does not. For the networks, the real product being sold is that viral event, which results in an explosion of tweets, headlines, and clout that keeps a show trending all week. This has squeezed out the middle ground. The quirky, mid-budget Aussie comedy or drama, the place where so many of our classics were born, has been bulldozed to make way for either ultra-cheap reality formats or eye-wateringly expensive prestige dramas. To add to that, the casting is now handled by agencies who look for a specific reality TV personality, resulting in casts that feel completely interchangeable. You could swap the contestants from Married at First Sight and The Block, and it would probably take 3 episodes before anyone noticed. But despite the sea of sameness, there are still brilliant, defiant pockets of genuine Australian television. These are the shows that prove their unapologetic Australian identity is precisely why they are so successful. The biggest example is Bluey, one of the most profoundly Australian shows ever made. It is a global mega hit, and a huge part of that is because it's genuine. It doesn't try to be anything other than itself, and that raw honesty connects with people everywhere. Then you have genius comedies like Utopia or the panel show Have You Been Paying Attention, which thrives on wit and comedic timing that is lightning fast and distinctly Australian. Even our streaming services like ABC iView and SBS On Demand are becoming havens for unique, risk-taking content that would never survive on commercial TV. The creativity is still here. It's just been pushed to the margins. So, where does that leave us? Here's the thing. Every single time we hate watch another dinner party meltdown, we're sending a clear 5-star rating to the network executives that tells them people actually enjoy these shows. The only way to fight back is to change the ratings. The networks will always follow the money. So let's start paying for the good stuff by watching them rather than the commercialized American-inspired reality shows we love to hate. So what do you think? And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss another deep dive. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.